The year is 2153. Humanity has just begun exploring the stars. Their population has reached critical mass, and Mother Earth is dying. They needed more space to live, so colonies were established in the closest star systems. One of the first was the New Dawn Outpost, a small mining colony on a rocky planet. It started tiny, but the population grew to 5,000. Families lived on the outskirts of a central mining operation. Atmospheric processors had been running for 50 years, making the air just barely breathable. Ethan Jones was a young 8-year-old boy with a mother, father, and older sister. His parents worked in the mines, and his sister worked in administration. Ethan spent most of his time alone, exploring the caves near his home. One day, while exploring, he heard a massive explosion. Fire and smoke filled the sky. Giant white ships flew over the colony, destroying everything in their path. Ethan could only watch as his world disappeared. He hid in the caves until the ships had left. A mixture of devastation and rage filled his heart, and he swore revenge. He salvaged what he could, but everywhere he looked, there were bodies. No one was left alive. Ethan went back to his home. All he could find were pictures of his parents and sister, and tears filled his eyes. They were the most precious things he had left, so he took them back to the cave. For a year, Ethan barely managed to survive. The planet was brutal, with extreme cold, then extreme heat, like seasons of death. One night, while Ethan was sleeping, an ethereal being appeared in his dreams. She was a beautiful woman made of pure white light, surrounded by drifting particles. She had wings and wore a flowing white dress. Ethan didn't know whether he was awake or still dreaming, and fear crept into him. "Who are you?" Ethan asked. The being smiled gently. "I am Lady Saphir, the spirit of the galaxy." Ethan looked confused, not understanding any of this. "Why are you here?" "Small human, you are awakening." Ethan looked up at her. "Awakening? What do you mean?" "Your galaxy is a spiral galaxy. 12 energetic paths flow outward from its center. Within each of these paths is a frequency capable of changing your species' DNA. You are passing through one of these spirals right now, and you are the first human to feel it." Ethan listened, wide-eyed. "You will be able to read minds and know things before they happen. Your people call this telepathy. Older species already possess it, but humanity is young and still growing." She drifted closer, glowing brighter. "But you are destined for more than this. You will unite two species through love, and forever change both their destinies." Ethan's fear faded, replaced with awe. "I will be watching over you," she said softly. "And I will protect you. You will see me again, but much later." In a beam of light, she vanished into the darkness. Ethan jolted awake, looking around the cave. Was it real, or just a dream? Then, in the distance, Ethan heard the low hum of engines approaching. Fear shot through him and he hid. But as the sound grew louder, he saw the markings on the ship, the Earth Alliance. They had come. Ethan ran out from hiding, waving his arms frantically. A ship landed nearby, kicking up dust and loose rock. The door opened, and a soldier in full military armor stepped out and walked toward him. The soldier pressed a button on his helmet, and the visor lifted. "I'm Captain Thorne," he said. "I'm here to rescue you and take you home." Ethan threw his arms around him. "I thought I was going to die here and die alone in the darkness." The captain looked down at the small boy and rested a hand on his shoulder. "I got you, son," he said quietly. "I got you." In the months that followed, Ethan was debriefed and taken back to Earth. With no surviving family, the military assumed guardianship over him. He was placed into a military youth program for orphans who had nowhere else to go. The military believed these recruits often became their strongest soldiers. So Ethan spent the next 7 years training discipline, endurance, survival. He grew into one of the military's elite. During training, they discovered something unusual. Ethan could read minds. His instincts went beyond normal human limits, as if he could sense events before they happened. He told them about Lady Saphir and the prophecy she had spoken of. Ethan volunteered for advanced medical procedures, pushing his body beyond human limits. Enhanced strength, greater speed, heightened intelligence. He was assigned to an elite unit used for protection and impossible missions. Along the way, he formed new friendships. New paths opened before him. These soldiers became his family. And for the first time in his life, Ethan felt content.
The Pleiadians were a far older race than humanity. While humans were still discovering fire, the Pleiadians had already mastered faster-than-light travel. They carried many customs and ancient traditions, yet they came from the same humble beginnings as human beings. In their early history, Lady Saphir appeared to them as well. Through her influence, they began to evolve, developing telepathy and many of the extraordinary abilities for which the Pleiadians became known. Over time, their physical forms changed. Their ears grew longer, their skin became pale and luminous, and their eyes dark and deep. Their technologies advanced along a different path than humanity's, built around crystalline energy and harmonic frequencies. But as their civilization grew more powerful, something else changed. Their emotions began to fade. They became distant from the passionate, feeling beings they had once been. Their society formed into a strict royal class system. A single ruler king or queen stood at the top with absolute authority. Their people lived by ancient laws and customs that were considered unbreakable. In their oldest texts, Lady Saphir was revered as a primary deity. Many prophecies came from visions of those who had seen her, and among them was the prophecy of the union of the races. Long ago, the Pleiadians seeded a small blue planet called Earth with fragments of their own DNA, then withdrew, allowing the new species to grow and form its own path. They were forbidden to make contact until humanity reached faster-than-light capability. First contact did not occur as expected. It happened in the Outer Rim territories near the colonies where Ethan's family had been killed. The Pleiadians had arrived to investigate unusual disturbances and encountered human military forces. From that meeting, diplomatic dialogue began. A great space station known as Elysian Gate had already operated in that region for many years. Eventually, humans were invited to establish an embassy there.
Queen Fersera had ruled the Pleiadian Empire for over 500 years. She was striking in appearance with long white hair, flawless pale skin, and an aura of authority that filled every chamber she entered. She wore ceremonial armor woven with crystal and metal, catching the light in radiant patterns, making her presence almost otherworldly. Like all Pleiadians, her lifespan was vast. Age did not mark her as it did humans. She had one daughter, Princess Lyra. Lyra shared her mother's pale beauty but wore her long black hair in intricate braids, a quiet distinction in a people who valued uniformity. Because of Pleiadian longevity, mother and daughter could easily be mistaken for sisters. But Lyra was different. She was an anomaly within Pleiadian royalty. Where others had suppressed emotion, Lyra felt deeply. She laughed freely, questioned traditions, and reacted with instinct instead of calculated restraint. Such behavior was frowned upon in royal circles, yet among the common people she was quietly adored. To them, she felt alive. Lyra was young, impulsive, and often ignored protocol despite her mother's constant reminders. She was fascinated by humanity as a species. They were so emotional, so unpredictable, so alive. She studied everything she could find about them. Their history, their homeworld, their customs. She had never seen a human before, but she waited with growing anticipation for the day of their arrival. A human shuttle moved toward one of the docking ports of Elysian Gate space station. Inside were human delegates, sent to represent Earth. Accompanying them was an elite unit of soldiers, assigned to ensure their protection. They were the protection detail and Ethan Jones was among them. The security team was a tight-knit group of 8, bonded through years of training and shared missions. Their squad leader was Brent, Ethan's mentor from his early military days and now his closest friend. Brent was steady, experienced, and the kind of leader people trusted with their lives. Rodriguez was another member of the unit, a strong, battle-hardened soldier of Hispanic origin. Tough as steel and fiercely loyal, she would die for anyone on her team. Despite her hardened exterior, she treated Ethan like a little brother. With a soft metallic clunk, the shuttle settled into the docking port of Elysian Gate. The doors opened. The security team stepped out first, weapons secured but ready. Behind them came the ambassador and the rest of the human delegation. Pleiadian guards stood waiting at the entrance, prepared to escort them to the throne room. As they moved through the station, the humans stared in awe. The architecture was unlike anything they had ever seen. Bioluminescent patterns flowed across the walls, glowing in shifting colors and intricate designs, as though the station itself were alive. At the main gate, a different group of guards awaited them. These wore ceremonial armor reminiscent of Earth's ancient knights, yet forged in silver-white alloys and advanced crystalline tech. The massive doors opened. Beyond lay the grand throne chamber, vast and radiant. Crowds of beings from many species had gathered to witness the historic moment. At the far end sat Queen Fersera upon her golden throne. Beside her stood Princess Lyra. Lyra could barely contain herself as the delegation approached. Now she could see the humans clearly. Her thoughts slipped past her control. He's beautiful. I want to see him. I want to talk to him. The queen's gaze sharpened, and her mind reached Lyra's instantly. Maintain protocol. Do not embarrass us. You are royalty. Unbeknownst to them, Ethan heard it all. He felt heat rise to his face, suddenly self-conscious. Then their eyes met. A radiant smile spread across Lyra's face, and her skin shifted to a soft shade of violet, the Pleiadian equivalent of blushing. For the next hour, the ambassador delivered ceremonial pledges to the crown and swore the galactic oath. After the ceremony, the crowds dispersed. The humans were shown to their own wing of the station, set aside for their administration. The security team moved to their assigned quarters, unloading equipment and preparing their bunks. Brent clapped Ethan on the back. Come on, let's get some chow. You know where the mess hall is? We'll find out, Ethan said with a grin. The team gathered in the mess hall. Ramirez stared at the strange food options, her appetite fading fast. Yeah, I'm suddenly not that hungry, she muttered, eyeing a green gelatinous substance that seemed to move. Ethan laughed. Where's that enthusiasm? After the meal, the team headed back, but Ethan paused. I'm going for a walk, he said. I want to look around. The others nodded. Ethan walked off alone into the glowing corridors of Elysian Gate. Queen Fersera returned to the council chamber for the reception honoring the Earth ambassador. Princess Lyra, however, chose a different path. She made her way to the Elysian Gardens, accompanied by 2 guards who remained outside the entrance. Inside, the garden stretched in luminous beauty. Plants shimmered softly, their bioluminescent leaves glowing in gentle waves of color. Lyra walked slowly among them, emotions and thoughts swirling through her mind. The plants seemed to respond, their light pulsing faintly as if sensing her inner turmoil. Did that human look at me? She wondered. Yes, he did. He saw me smile. I know he did. Her pulse quickened. I have to meet him. She straightened and turned toward the exit. I'm coming out, she called to the guards. The doors opened. At that same moment, Ethan turned the corner of the corridor outside. They collided. The moment they touched, something changed. Ethan felt himself pulled away, as if his body no longer existed. He stood in darkness, vast and silent. For a brief instant, he thought he saw the outline of Lady Saphir in the distance. Princess Lyra experienced the same sensation. She too was drawn into the void, but all she saw was a sudden flash of light. Then she collapsed. Ethan caught her instinctively, but the guards rushed forward. Stand back. They pulled him away as Lyra lay unconscious on the floor. One guard called for medical assistance while the other secured Ethan, keeping distance between them. A medical team arrived within moments. Lyra was rushed to the Royal Medical Center. Her body scanned and analyzed as physicians tried to determine the cause of her sudden collapse. At the same time, another group of guards escorted Ethan away. He was taken to a holding chamber. For 3 days, the princess remained unconscious in the Royal Medical Center. Queen Fersera visited her every hour, standing silently at her side, watching for any sign of change. Beneath her composed exterior, fear grew that her daughter might never wake. Then at last Lyra stirred. Her eyes opened. The queen's composure shattered. Tears filled her eyes as she rushed forward and wrapped her arms around her daughter. Lyra blinked in confusion, still weak, trying to understand what was happening. Mother, what's wrong? She asked softly. Why are you so upset? The queen stood abruptly. I should have that human executed, she said, fighting to keep her emotions under control. Bring him to my chambers. Immediately. Lyra looked at her in distress. He didn't do anything. He just ran into me. I don't know what happened, I blacked out. Something strange happened, a connection. Her voice grew urgent. Don't you dare hurt him. You don't touch a single hair on his head. He has done nothing wrong. We shall see, the queen replied coldly. I will speak with him myself. She leaned forward, pressing her forehead gently to her daughter's. Rest now. Then she left. Ethan was removed from the holding bay. Guards escorted him to the Queen's private chambers. They knocked. Enter, the Queen commanded. Come in. The guards brought him to the door, then Ethan came inside, then withdrew, remaining outside the doors. The Queen regarded him with controlled fury. Ethan Jones. You will explain exactly what happened. Your life depends on it. Your Majesty, I don't know what to say, Ethan replied. I was walking down the hallway. The doors opened, and your daughter stepped out. We collided by accident. I didn't try to hurt her. He swallowed. Then everything went dark and she collapsed. The Queen's eyes narrowed. You're not telling me everything. Ethan hesitated. I don't know if it means anything. Maybe it was Lady Saphir. The Queen froze. Her anger vanished, replaced by shock. What did you say? Lady Saphir, Ethan said quietly. I saw her once when I was a kid in a dream. I think I saw her again when I ran into your daughter. The Queen's intensity sharpened. How do you know that name? Only the priesthood knows it. It is written in our most secret texts. How could a human know this, she explained. Ethan took a breath and told her everything about the destruction of the outpost, the death of his family, the year he survived alone, certain he would die in the darkness. The Queen's expression softened as she listened. It happened in a dream, Ethan said. Or I don't know if it was a dream. A woman made of light appeared. Wings. Glowing particles. She said I was awakening. That I would unite two species through love. She said she would protect me. He paused. The next day the military rescued me. That's all I know. The Queen studied him with sadness and awe crossing her face. I believe you, she said quietly. No one outside our priesthood knows her name or her form. Yet you do. Ethan let out a slow breath. So I get to keep my head? For the first time, the Queen laughed a soft, relieved sound. There is a confused young girl in the medical center, she said. You may go to her. But under no circumstances are you to touch her skin. We do not yet understand what has occurred. Whether coincidence or prophecy. Her voice grew gentler. Be kind to her. She is my only child. My world revolves around her. Ethan nodded. The guards escorted him toward Princess Lyra's medical chamber. He then entered her room. The moment Lyra saw him, she froze. Then a wide smile came across her face. Her thoughts raced, emotions flooding her mind. This beautiful man. Who is he? Where did he come from? Ethan could hear her thoughts, but gave no signs he knew. He bowed respectfully. Your Majesty, I apologize for any trouble I may have caused. I meant no harm. Lyra could barely speak. She was lost in his eyes, unaware of everything else around her. Her skin shifted to a vivid shade of violet, betraying her feelings. Please sit, she said softly. Stay a while. Talk with me. He took a seat beside her. I feel like I've known you my whole life, she admitted. Tell me about yourself. Then she asked, what did you feel when we collided? Ethan hesitated. It felt like I was taken somewhere else. Darkness then light. After that, I don't remember that much. Lyra's eyes widened. That's exactly what I felt. But you didn't collapse. I wouldn't say I felt nothing, he replied quietly. I felt a connection. Something pulling me toward you. Something I can't explain. Lyra giggled. Please, tell me about your life. Ethan shared his story and his childhood. His loss, his rescue, his military life, and the friends who had become his family. He left out the part about Lady Saphir. Tears gathered in Lyra's eyes as she listened, wishing she could reach out and hold him. They talked. For hours they talked. Ethan described Earth's animals, its forests, blue skies, and endless oceans. Lyra listened in awe, hanging on every word, laughing at his jokes. He admitted. One of his flaws was being too honest, and using humor to hide emotions. Princess Lyra joked, I told my mother that she was not to harm one hair on your head. But I see there's not much to harm. Then laughed. Ethan looked at her in shock. Your Majesty, that's a bit cheeky. Then the princess poked out her tongue. And they both laughed. Then the princess frowned. And no more, Your Majesty. It's Lyra. Time slipped away. A nurse entered gently. Your Highness, you need to rest. Ethan stood. I'm sorry. Ethan apologized. I didn't realize how long I'd stayed. Please don't go yet, Lyra said. I'm afraid he must, the nurse replied. The Queen's orders. Ethan bowed once more, making Lyra giggle again. Will I see you again? He asked. She smiled brightly. Most definitely. Then he left. Ethan returned to the security quarters. The moment he walked in, Ramirez was waiting, arms crossed. Where the hell have you been? You've been MIA for 3 days. Brent already started writing your eulogy. You could have at least contacted us. All we knew was that palace guards took you. Nobody would tell us anything. We were ready to start a revolt. Ethan raised his hands. Okay, it's not that complicated. I ran into the princess. She collapsed when we touched. That caused a bit of a diplomatic incident. They took her to the Royal Medical Center, and I got locked in a holding bay until they figured things out. He paused. The Queen wanted my head, but I had a conversation with her, and changed her mind. Ramirez stared. You what? I visited the princess afterward. We talked for about 3 hours. We kind of get along. Ramirez blinked. What do you mean you get along? Ethan sighed. All right. Full truth. He told them about everything. Lady Saphir, the dream as a child, the prophecy, and the vision when he and Lyra touched. Brent rubbed his face. You sure you didn't hit your head? Ramirez grinned. So you've got a princess, huh? Ethan shrugged. We don't know that yet. There are probably tests, questions, all kinds of things. Something about a prophecy I don't fully understand. But yeah, I'll probably be seeing her again. Ramirez squealed like an excited older sister. Brent shook his head. There's going to be so much paperwork. Wouldn't it be easier if they just executed you? Ramirez tackled Ethan, and the room burst into laughter. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan visited Lyra often. Their friendship deepened, and something stronger quietly began to grow between them. Meanwhile, Queen Frasera ordered the priesthood to search ancient records for every mention of the prophecy. She demanded to know whether such an event had ever happened before and what signs would confirm it. She consulted her advisors about protocols for interspecies bonding. A subject that caused shock, disbelief, and awe. It had never been considered. At the same time, her security forces investigated Ethan's entire history, verifying every detail. She would take no risks. Not where her daughter was concerned. The Queen convened a meeting of her security council, the priesthood, and the diplomatic corps. Every detail was laid out before them, along with the protocols that might need to be followed. The priests spoke cautiously. They were helpful, yet doubtful that this truly fulfilled the prophecy. There is a way to test it, one of them said. An ancient crystal artifact. If the human has truly been touched by Lady Saphir, the crystal will respond. The Queen studied them. You are certain? No, Your Majesty. It has been ages since it was last used. We cannot guarantee its accuracy. Your daughter would also need to be tested. The Queen's gaze hardened. Is it worth risking her? No. But we can test the human first. If he passes, then it is highly likely she will as well. The Security Council then reported their findings. Every part of Ethan's story aligned with their investigations. However, certain military records were inaccessible and encrypted at a level even their technology could not breach. The Queen's expression darkened. That is concerning. I will speak with him again. Your Majesty, one advisor cautioned, if he has not shared that information already, he may not do so. She looked at them calmly. I believe he is far more than you think. With that, she ended the meeting and departed.